Hi, today I thought I'd take a look at the Star Wars The New Republic Legends. I think it's like Volume 2 Omnibus. This came out like about a month ago or so. I've been looking through it ever since. I got it right when it came out. Here's the spine. It's a new Marvel Omnibus. And here's some little write-up of what's in it. What's in this and the reason why I got this, and I might get Volume 1 at some point as well. Volume 2 contains the entire comics adaptation of the Thrawn trilogy, and the Dark Horse continuation, which was the Dark Empire trilogy. And it has other comics as well, other material before and after, all that stuff. Really nice big tome full of stuff. I mean, I love having the Thrawn trilogy in one thing, and the Dark Empire trilogy after that. It's basically, to me, it's, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The real episodes 7 to 12. So let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at the dust jacket. The tyranny is over for now. Here is the inside cover. There's Thrawn himself. And here's the back dust jacket. Here's the entire dust jacket here. And let's try and open this up. Here is the entire cover. Pretty awesome. Yeah, and so let's get into the inside here. New Republic Volume 2. Here's the table of contents. All the different creators. Lando's Commandos, some other like Star Wars Tales issues in here, stories from Star Wars Tales. Star Wars Tales was a cool comic because it was just an anthology thing. It was a Mara Jade story, Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and The Last Command, and then Dark Empire 1, and like the entire Dark Empire trilogy. Dark Empire 2, Empire's End, some Boba Fett comics. It's a nice big, like, I don't know, like, I'm not gonna get all the omnibuses for so-called Legends Star Wars. I'm trying to now get more into, like, I was already into Legends, but all the Lucasfilm stuff, like before Disney, is pretty awesome, pretty respectful. Here's from Star Wars Tales. This is Lando's Commandos. This is what I thought the Lando Calrissian TV series should have been. He just like recruits guys and goes on missions between Empire and Return of the Jedi. Some of the art here is fairly angular to what I'm used to, but Dark Horse was fairly prolific with their Star Wars content, and they did a lot of great series that, and stuff that people just took as lore and as canon, like Tag and Bink and all that stuff, right? And even like the Dark Empire trilogy. This is the Jabba tape. Pretty cool stuff. And it all feels and looks like Star Wars. All these different aliens and creatures and spaceships and, like, space vistas and stuff. Here's Jabba, or at least a hut. Mon Calamari. It was always very exciting stuff. The whole Yuzhang Vong like saga with all these aliens from beyond the rim, attacking their immune to the Force and everything. Here's an Ewok tale. This is about a guy who claims to have encountered the Ewoks and then destroyed them all, but he really didn't. Yeah, that's a myth everyone knows. Most of the Death Star simply vaporized, and the Rebel fleet intercepted the rest of the wreckage. They did? Yeah. Oh, because he's saying that the Death Star fell on Endor and destroyed all the Ewok villages. It didn't. So this one shows how formidable the Ewoks are. I know people always make fun of the Ewoks, but they're awesome. And here's a Mara Jade tale. Volume 1 has more Mara Jade stuff in it. And I'm used to Mara Jade from the Thrawn trilogy and Hand of the Emperor, where she was one of many apprentices that weren't exactly breaking the rule of two. She's a Force user, but not trained as a Jedi. And then after Return of the Jedi, she's on the run and helping people. Like she's doing small jobs just to survive, but when they get shook down by rogue Imperials and stuff, she helps them out. I liked all that stuff. Alright, and here she is donning a sort of ninja-ish disguise. Mara Jade's a cool character. She's now not in canon. They might bring her. There's rumors they might bring her back with the new Battle of Jakku stuff. Oh gosh, I don't want that. So here we're into the Thrawn trilogy. Let's get to the beginning of it. Here we go. Star Wars Heir to the Empire. I read the first book right when it came out. We were all very excited. It was a bestseller instantly. Here's a Pillion and I think this guy's name Rook. Is that his name? Yeah, Rook. There you go. So it's Pillion, Rook, and Thrawn are the triumvirate of the bad guys. Thrawn's studying different cultures to figure out how to conquer them. He's a more cultured villain. Luke is still questioning if he's a good enough Jedi in the eyes of Obi-Wan. And here you got your Mara Jade and everything. Talon Card. All these classic characters are now not in canon. Jur Saboth is a mad Jedi or Sith, we don't know, who has been isolated for so long he's gone crazy. And here are the Ysalamiri, the little hamsters or whatever, that the space hamsters that can repel the Force. I wasn't a big fan of that, and after that everything repelled the Force, and I wasn't too keen on that kind of thing. Sarlacc Pit here, pretty awesome. I wasn't a big fan of Heir to the Empire when I first read the book. I didn't feel like it was Star Wars enough, but that's the story of our lives, isn't it? Whenever there's a new Star Wars, you're so analytical of it that you can't really enjoy it, right? But there's a lot of cool stuff in here. You see Luke meeting with Mara Jade for the first time. And Leia went on her own adventures. Can't remember what these guys were called. My problem, too, with Heir to the Empire was that I felt it was fairly aimless. The heroes don't even really know what's going on for most of that book. And they just get into like who Thrawn is and everything into the second book. There's Lando with them. So all the classic characters were there with them. And there's Dark Force Rising #1. So this is the beginning of the second book, where Princess Leia finds a planet full of people that worship Darth Vader, and therefore they follow her lead because they know that she's of the blood of she's the daughter of Vader and everything. She is pregnant, so that was a big deal back then. Not with Kylo Ren. There were a whole bunch of other children, and I guess they got retconned out when Disney just decided to throw away the so-called EU expanded universe Here's Luke being trained by Joruus and slowly realizing that he's crazy and kind of malevolent. There's Mara Jade. Mara Jade's such a great character. I'll always say that. It's so funny, like, to Star Wars fans whenever we're told that Star Wars is for men and boys and where are the females and everything. Well, they were there, and you threw them out when you threw out the EU, and it's so weird. They try to make new characters like Rey and stuff, and it's like, well, Mara Jade was a beloved character, and strong and all that stuff, but like an interesting character too. And you chucked her away. Numi Sunrider, all those characters, you just threw them right out and claimed that they never existed, or characters of their ilk never existed, and they did. So yes, to me, the Thrawn trilogy is 7, 8, 9. It is. It just is. Even though I wasn't a big fan of the books when they first came out. Here are the babies being born with a nice splash page. 1997. It's The Last Command. So Last Command was cool in the books and in the comics in that it's basically Return of the Jedi. There's like a whole bunch of different fights and showdowns. It's really quite exciting compared to the other books. But it's still, I mean, the whole thing, I've grown to love the Thrawn trilogy. I've grown to love Heir to the Empire, which is more just setting up and stuff. And you get the classic meeting up of Thrawn and Jorah Saboth and all that stuff. This character turns up in this book. Yeah, I don't think we'll ever see an adaptation of this, probably animated maybe, but like I feel like they've moved far enough away from all this stuff that it would just be jarring if they ever did do adaptations of the EU, like the Thrawn trilogy or the Dark Empire trilogy, as and say that it's canon or something like that. Here, Rook defeats Thrawn. That's because the influence of Leia on his people. And there you go. And Mara Jade warms up to Luke. And they eventually have a child. And here's the Dark Empire trilogy. I remember I was all over this when this came out. This cover's classic to me. Dark Empire trilogy is basically the Emperor returns, and I know that caused controversy when it happened in Rise of Skywalker, aka Rise of Palpatine. But it didn't feel as jarring and lore-breaking in the comics as it did in the movie, because then when it happened, everyone's like, okay, so I guess Return of the Jedi is bullcrap because they didn't defeat anything. Here it is like a clone or whatever they put essence into or something. Luke attempts to join the Empire to change it, and that doesn't really work out. Here he looks more like he's joining the Sith. Here, I remember the artwork being very stark compared to everything else. There is an instance here where he does force project his image, and so when it happened in Last Jedi, I was like, oh, it's happened before. Not across the universe, but it's happened. I remember the ship designs in this series was more industrial looking, like more like, industrial buildings and stuff. This design is, I think here in canon, it is the Imperial Sentinel or something like that. But this was supposed to be the main bad guy, Aetha Prime, in Kenner's proposed continuation of Star Wars after Return of the Jedi to sell more toys, called The Saga Continues. And that didn't go anywhere, so the design was reused here. Pretty neat. Yeah, you see the artwork is more stark and more like one or two colors. I remember these characters. I was like, do they have pouches on them? What the heck? So a lot of classic imagery from the Star Wars movies to make it feel more like Star Wars. I can't remember what this character's called. Here's Boba Fett. I gotta reread this again, get myself familiar with it again. I think I was very, very familiar with this as a kid compared to the Thrawn trilogy. As I've grown older over the years, I've reread the books and reread the comics for Thrawn trilogy, and I'm more familiar with that now than I am with Dark Empire, which used to be my life for about a year. When I was way into this comic series when it came out. We were still very hungry for Star Wars in the 90s and the late 90s. We wanted more of the adventures of Luke, Leia, Han, and Lando and all that. Oh, I think I just skipped over the younger Emperor. There he is, in a younger clone body. That's Chewbacca's come a long way in art compared to what he was in the beginning of Marvel Comics, where he just looked like just a hairy man. Now he looks more like the Chewbacca that we know. Here's Leia with a saber, learning more of the ways of the Force. Yeah, so all of this is Dark Empire. Pretty cool stuff. And the whole thing is basically the Empire's trying to come back. It's not very original. And I know people berate the sequel trilogy, the so-called sequel trilogy, for being too close to like Star Wars. I mean, too close to the original Star Wars and didn't branch out and make their own villains. It's just the First Order is just the Empire. But here there's more like Force elements going on. It's very interesting stuff, and there's more of like a Jedi Academy happening and stuff. And Boba Fett's back. He came back from the Sarlacc pit. Here's this like floating dude. I remember him. The thing is, all this looks incredibly more exciting than what we got with the official sequels. It just looks more science fiction-y and action-y and visceral. Like feels like Star Wars, you know. Like this is awesome. More different vehicles and ships and planets and everything. Here's Empire's End. More ships and things. Awesome. They should have made like a whole toy line dedicated to this. I'm sure there are like a few. I mean, the Imperial Sentinels were figures, but just like make like dedicated like a whole dedicated toy line to all this stuff. They won't. I mean, probably just dedicate some figures to the Black Series and all that, which I'm not a big fan of. Here's an epilogue. So I mean, this thing gives you 2 big trilogies. That's awesome, and extra stuff like this Boba Fett comic. Who's this? Dengar. Pretty cool, eh? Yeah, this is a nice, bookshelf tome to just like dig off the shelf and read some more Star Wars adventures. From the Lucasfilm era, before Disney. What was it, 2012 or something, when Disney bought Lucasfilm and just chucked all this in the garbage. Now, I'll give them credit that they do know that if they put out a set like this, people like me will buy it. So I love that they do keep it alive with omnibuses like this. And here's some text that would be backups in some of the books. Just giving you like write-ups on characters and places. Awesome, look. Billy D photo cover. And here's some concept art Talon card. The Dark Horse Star Wars covers art. That's the cover here of this tome. Yeah, I mean, I love all these characters, Luke, Leia, and stuff. You could call me old-fashioned, but they were well done in their original movie, and that legacy carries forward, and I want to read more adventures and watch more adventures with them. We're not being given that right now, so I retreat into these old comics and stories and stuff from when Star Wars was still burning bright, even though there weren't movies and stuff to support it. So I do appreciate omnibuses like this. So I hope you enjoyed looking through this with me. And be sure to subscribe if you like this kind of content. And click the thumbs up if you like this video. Thanks so much. Till next time, take care.